kind of see where a few years on the Commerce Committee or a few years on the Ways and Means Committee really pays off for us back here at home. The last 25 years of my professional life, I've had the privilege of practicing law in a rather unique area, that being election law. It's not my entire practice, but it's something that I do and I've led our firm to be involved in. One of the best parts of that practice, for me anyway, is getting to know our elected officials around the state. And our elections are administered by county clerks, election commissioners, and of course our Secretary of State. They have a duty. They have a duty of administrating, but they also have a duty of protecting our election process. And there's no greater champion of that work than our Secretary of State, John Gale. Now, John, I saw you. Where'd you go? Thank you, John. Come on up. We'd like to hear a few remarks. He wanted a rock star welcome. Let's do it. John's a fellow lawyer. He wanted a little tone music and everything. There you go.
Thank you, Gale. Well, it's a great privilege for me to be here as your Secretary of State and as a candidate for Secretary of State this fall. I want to first thank all of you, the many years that I've been involved in your public politics, and it goes back to 1964 when Goldwater was running for president, and I captured the message of conservatism, worked on his campaign, worked on Senator Russ's campaign, and been involved in our Republican politics ever since, and served as state chairman in 1986. But my message to you is thank you. If it wasn't for the volunteers I've known over the many years in politics who have been willing to help candidates with all of the things that need to be done, all of the grassroots jobs, whether it's telephoning, going door to door, helping with mailers, helping with fundraisers, we candidates couldn't get our message out and democracy wouldn't be working. So as a fifth generation Nebraskan, having grown up in Ogallala and Omaha, having practiced law in North Platte for 29 years and been in Lincoln now 14 as your Constitution officer, I want to tell you thank you. It's been such a great privilege to have served this state and to serve this party in Lincoln, Nebraska. I want to first thank our Governor Dave Heineman, our Attorney General John Bruning, our Auditor Mike Foley. I've worked with them for the full time that they have served as Constitution officers. We serve on many boards and commissions together. We see each other regularly. We coordinate together and actually cooperate in many ways that are probably unknown to the general public, but they have been exemplary, outstanding public servants, and I thank them all for their service. So I hope you will also have an opportunity to thank all of them personally as well, because they've served you and served Nebraska in a very outstanding way. As JL said, I am Chief Election Officer, I'm Chief Protocol Officer, Chief Business Service Officer, Chief Notary Office, Chief Records Officer, and I serve on 5 boards and commissions. So it keeps me pretty busy, but elections is clearly one of the areas where I give my passion. And let me share something to you that's a good message to our Republican Party. The World Herald recently had a small editorial, and they said that we only had 28% turnout in the primary. And if the government of the people, by the people, and for the people is going to work, you can't have 2/3 of the people staying home on election day. Well, that's a profound thought, and I agree with that. But on the other hand, that's talking like the glass is half empty. I'd like to tell you why the glass is half full and filling. And that's the fact that in our primary in 2014, we had the 3rd best turnout in the nation. Oregon, Montana, Nebraska. Our 28% was better than all the other states in terms of a primary turnout. Something to be proud of. Secondly, many other states are declining in the percentage of turnout in their primaries. Something to be alarmed about nationally. Nebraska, since 2004, has been increasing. We've gone from 21% to 28%, and in 2006 we had a 35% turnout. So it means in Nebraska, all of you and all of our citizens are doing their job, and we're getting a better turnout, and people are paying attention. They're listening to you and listening to the candidates, and they're going out to vote. in our primaries, which is so critical when we pick our candidates for our parties. And here's what's really exciting to me. There are states that we hear of all the time that's really strong, solid, conservative, Republican states. Texas had a 14% turnout. We had a 28% turnout. Pennsylvania, Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, they had in between 16 and 17% turnout. Bastions of Republicanism. In Nebraska, we had a 28% turnout. I predict we're going to keep increasing that, and we're going to show the rest of the nation that we do care enough about our primary candidates, that we do vote in our primaries, and we do think they make a difference, and we do think that they give vitality to our democracy and vitality to our Republican Party. Now here's the other good news. Only 18% of the Democrats showed up in the primary. But over 40% of Republicans showed up. 40%. And that's what's driving the turnout in Nebraska and giving us such a high percentage is Republicans are voting in the primary. So that 40% I would sure like to see. We have in the Republican Party a 50-55% turnout at least in the general election. So let's go for it, let's work for it, and let's elect all of our candidates in the general election in November. Thank you.